Hello students, welcome to biology class, and once again you are here with me to study biology. In the class 11th you have one chapter naming cell biology. Students, when we talk about the cell is considered as a basic unit of a life, right? And cell has a different organelles. When we are talking about a different organelles of a cell, each are destined for one particular function, right? This make it different from the prokaryotic cells, or that is basically called as a division of the labor, right? We know that mitochondria has specific function, endoplasmic has a specific function. In the previous classes, we have discussed about the nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosome, Golgi, and so many things, right? Now it's a time to study in detail about the things which are present in the nucleus. Students, we know that nucleus is that part of a cell which is basically what? Which is a master, right? That control the every activity of the cell, right? Why? Because it has a very important thing, that is a genetic material, or you can say the DNA in them. When we talk about the DNA or the nucleus, when we were drawing the diagram of the nucleus, I was drawing some thread-like structure, and that I call it as a chromatin. And I have told you that during the time of cell division, what happens is that these chromatin fibers, they condense themselves into a chromosome. And chromosome, you know students, is a specific, their number, their structure, you can say the position of the centromere is specific for a different type of species, right? So let's talk about the chromosome first. Chromosomes, right? Chromosomes are present in the cells at the time of cell division, right? Chromatin fibers, chromatin arrange them into chromosomes at the time of cell division. They arrange themselves. These chromatin are present in the interphase cells. They are present where? In the interphase, right? And later on, when the cell divide, they condense themselves into the chromosome. 2.2 meter fiber, the whole fiber, 2.2 meter, this is a very long fiber, they get coiled into a chromosomes, right? Different chromosomes. And around 2.2 meter, they arrange themselves into the 46 chromosome, right? And this is packed in a cell, or instead it is packed in the nucleus. So it's a very difficult, or it is very characteristic feature, right? And chromosome number, when they are arranged in the chromosome, they actually varies according to the species. One species will be having a specific number of the chromosomes, right? So chromosome number varies according to species. Actually students, when we talk about the chromosome number, their structure, their size, it is not at all related to the species from they arise. Or if I say this particular species is of big size, that means a chromosome of that species is of big. No, it's not like that. It actually do not depend upon the size of the species, right? So chromosome number do not depend upon size of species. Do not depend upon size of species. Right? So, this is the chromosome. Students, when we talk about the chromosome, chromosome was first of all discovered by Hofmeister and Carl Nageli in pollen mother cell. So, can I write over here? Come at this side. So, it was first of all firstly seen by Hofmeister and Carl Nageli in pollen mother cell, right? It was first of all seen by the Hofmeister and the Carl Nageli in pollen mother cell, which is also called as a PMC. Right? So, students, this is very, very important. Right? In this was discovered in the pollen mother cells in the Tradescentia. Right. So, one thing you need to remember that the contribution of the Hofmeister and the Carl Nageli. Right. Actually, when we are, one thing I would like to tell you more about the chromosome. When we are talking about students' chromosome, normally we study the chromosome at the metaphase because at the metaphase they align themselves to one plane, and at that particular time the chromosome size is very short, so it is very easy to study them. And when we talk about the shape of the chromosome is studied at the anaphase. So, write that also. So, shape of chromosome studied at metaphase, shape is studied at anaphase, and their number is studied at the metaphase. Now, I have used the term anaphase, metaphase. Now, students, you will be asking, because you are new to this cell biology, so hope you know about this cell cycle. In the cell cycle or the cell division, first of all, what happens is, actually the cell division is divided into 4 phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase and telophase. We will discuss all those things in the next chapter, but one thing you need to understand over here is that the first stage of cell division is called as a prophase. In the prophase, what happens is the nuclear membrane disappears, and later on what happens is the metaphase. In the metaphase, all the chromosomes, they arrange themselves into a center plate, right? And later on, with the help of chromatin fibers, or I would rather say the microfilaments which are present in the cell, They are attached with the help of centromere over here, basically kinetochore, with the help of kinetochore, and they drag those chromosome to the sister chromatid to the opposite pole. This is called as an anaphase. When they are dragged, later on they reaches the opposite pole, and this is called as a telophase, right? And later on what happened? The cell wall, they divide and the two daughter cells are formed. So it's a part of the cell division, right? Now, so the shape of the cell chromosome is studied as anaphase of cell division. First of all, write this. This is also of cell division. Yes, one more thing students, while talking about the chromosome, the term chromosome was given by the Waldeyer. Right. So, this is the Waldeyer. Normally when we talk about the chromosome, what we write is a 2n, we write n, 2n, 3n and 4n and something like that, right. Now, what exactly the n is? N is a haploid number of the chromosome. N is what? This is called as a haploid number of chromosome. Haploid number of chromosome. Haploid means that particular number of the chromosome which is present in the gamete, right? A single set of the chromosome. Suppose we have, what we have students is a 2n is equal to 46, right? And we are what? We are diploid organisms. We are what? Diploid organism. That means 2n, the twice the number of a haploid, that is a 46, right? And n here means a haploid set of chromosome. That means n in our case will be 23, right? And this 23 number of the chromosome will be present in a gamete, right? So this particular number of the chromosome will be present in the gamete, and this is transmitted from one generation to the another. And when there is a formation of the gamete, one of the gamete they come from the mother and another come from the father, and later on when they fuse, the ultimate what they form is a diploid organism, right? And one thing you need to remember is that when this gamete is n is equal to 23, this is called as our genome, right? This is what? Genome, right? So let's write about that. Set of chromosome and normally a single set is present in the gamete. Present in gamete. Is what is called as genome. Is called as a genome. That means a genetic constitution as per the gamete is concerned, they are called as its genome. When we talk about the different organisms, their complexity doesn't determine the number of the chromosome, that I have told you earlier as well. Now let's talk about the number of the chromosome which is present in the different organisms. So, students, we have 46 chromosomes, and we can say, in fact I can say that we have a 23 pairs of the chromosome, out of which the 22 are the autosomes. So let's first talk about ourselves, that is we have humans or the Homo sapiens. We have what? We are diploid organisms, and in our diploid state we have 46 chromosomes, right? 46 chromosome, that means in a single set we are having a 23 chromosome, or our gamete. If I say my gamete will be having 23 chromosome, right? And that will be my genome. So 2n is equal to 46. When we talk about this 46 chromosome, 22 chromosomes, they are autosomes. Plus we will be having XX or XY, right? So what exactly these things are? So these are what? These are autosomes, right? These are autosomes, whereas this is not X and XY. So this will be XX, right? And these are called as sex chromosome. That determines the sex of an individual. If it is XY, it will be male. If it is XX, it will be the sex of that individual will be female, right? So this is all about the humans. Similarly, we have another examples as well. This was in case of the humans, that is Homo sapiens. Let's talk about Drosophila. Drosophila melanogaster. In this case, the 2n is equal to 14. Right? And n over here will be equal to 23, and in this case it will be equal to the 7. Right? Students, actually there is a difference between the writing about the Drosophila and the human in the karyotype. We will talk about that karyotype later on. So just write 7. Let's talk about the chimpanzee. Chimpanzee is having overall 48 chromosomes, out of which these are the 24 are N, a haploid set. Right? So this is 24. This is Homo sapiens. Next we have one more protozoan, Autocantha. Autocantha has around 1600 chromosomes. So in haploid set there will be 800, right? We have certain examples in the plants as well. Let's talk about that. For example, in case of Mucor hemilis, right? In this case, the 2n is equal to 2 and this n is equal to 1, right? This is an example in case, and we have Ziamase. That is the 2n is equal to 20 and this will be equal to the 10, right? We have some another example as well. Triticum. Let's take an example of a wheat, Triticum. Triticum, that is a wheat. In this case, the 2n is equal to 42. and this will be equal to 21. So we have so many examples as such. In case of the humans, Homo sapiens, it is 46 haploid set, we have 23 chromosome. Drosophila melanogaster, we have a 14 chromosome, out of which haploid set has a 7 chromosomes, right? Actually it is not 14, this is actually 8 and 4, right? 7, so chimpanzee 48, that's why we resemble with the chimpanzee, right? Almost similar number of the chromosome. Autocantha, this is a protozoan having a very high number of the chromosome, that is of 1600. In a haploid set, they have a 1800 number of the chromosomes, right? So this is all about the number of the chromosome. Let's first discuss about the distinction of the chromosome on the basis of centromere. We have numerous examples, students, in books regarding the number of the chromosome, right? So, types of chromosome on the basis of position of centromere. Right. So students, when we talk about the structure of a chromosome look like this. A single chromatid. I'm not talking about the chromatin. Actually, it is a chromosome. This whole chromosome look like this, right? This chromosome, they are attached to the center. This particular position is called as centromere. This is called as a centromere, and these are the different arms of chromosome. Sometimes these arms are long, and sometimes depending upon the position of the centromere, one arm become long and one arm become short, right? On that basis, we calculate the arm ratio, that is a ratio of the long arm to the short arm, right? Let's talk about the types of the chromosome. First of all, let's talk about the telocentric. The first we have is a telocentric. Telocentric chromosome. Telocentric chromosome, that means the centromere is present at one end, and the structure of this look like this. This is a centromere, and it will be like this. That means the centromere has reached up to the end. Centromere present at the terminal position. This is called as, this is a centromere, students. Right? This is the first part, which is called as a telocentric chromosome. When this centromere is present at the terminal position, this is called as a telocentric condition. Now let's talk about another condition, which is called as a acrocentric. So come at this side. Let's talk about the second, which is called as acrocentric. ACRO. Acrocentric chromosomes. acrocentric chromosomes are those chromosomes in which centromere are present towards one end, right? So it's like this. This is a small arm, right? And this will be the long arm, right? Towards one of the terminal, this is called as what? Acrocentric condition. This is called as, students, sorry, short arm. Right? This will be called as a long arm. Right? And this is what? This is a centromere. Students, these chromatids, they are attached to with the help of centromere. And these centromere, at the position of this centromere, the chromatid become narrow, right? And when we look at the ultrastructure of the centromere, centromere has two plates, and these plates are called as a kinetochore. And kinetochore is that particular region that is attached to the spindle fiber during the cell division, and that's why they are dragged to the opposite pole. So the kinetochore is present over here only, right? So we are talking about the acrocentric, that means centromere present at one of or near one of the end. Near one of end. It's near one of the end, it is not at the end or at the terminal position, due to which the two chromosome or two chromatids, two arms are produced. One is called as a long arm and another is called as a short arm. So students, as I have discussed that there is a constriction at the site of the centromere. This is called as a primary constrictions. Normally they have another constrictions as well over there. Suppose the constrictions are present over here. They are present over here actually, and we'll talk about that when we'll talk about the ultrastructure of the chromosome, and this will be called as a secondary constriction. But here they are called as a primary constrictions, right? So acrocentric, centromere present near one of the arm, two arms are produced, one is a long and another is a short. Now let's talk about the another, that is a metacentric chromosome. The third one, metacentric chromosome. Metacentric chromosome. That means students, meta means in the center, because this metacentric is derived from the metaphase, right? In the metaphase, the chromosome, they arrange themselves into the center. That's why the meta word is used over here. That means the centromere is present and that centromere will be present in the center, right? So the structure will be like this. This will be a metacentric. It's there in the center, right? Centromere present in center, right? The two same arms will be produced which is having a same length, right? So this is a metacentric chromosome. Now let's talk about the fourth type, which is called as submetacentric. Submetacentric. Now submetacentric is that position in which the centromere is present, but it will be present towards one of the end. It's like this. This is a centromere. One arm will be short, will not be that much short, but it will be short. I think it's almost same. I have drawn almost same size. So, but actually it is, the one is a long arm, and this is a normal condition, right? This is what? Centromere. This will be a short arm, and this will be what? Long arm. So, centromere will be present near to the center, not on the center, near to the center, that leads to the formation of the two arm. One is called as a short arm and another is called as a long arm. So, centromere near center. This condition is called as a submetacentric, right? So, hope you all are clear with the types of the chromosome on the basis of the centromere. The first part was called as a telocentric, and I have rubbed that. So, that was a telocentric. Telocentric means the centromere will be present at the terminal position, right? Next we have is a acrocentric condition. In the acrocentric condition, the centromere is present towards the terminal or towards one of the end, right? A very short arm is produced and another will be a very long arm, right? So, this is a acrocentric condition. Another condition is a metacentric condition, or the metacentric chromosome, where the chromosome, or we can say the centromere, is present in the center. Both the chromatids, so both the arms, they are in equal size, right? Another condition we have is a submetacentric, means the centromere is present but towards one end. Towards, you can say not in center, towards one of the arm, right? So, the two arms will be produced. One is called as a short arm and another is called as a long arm. When we talk about the types of chromosome on the basis of the position of the centromere, students, one term we frequently used, that is called as a arm ratio. Arm ratio. Arm ratio. ARM, arm ratio. That means it is a ratio of the long arm to the short arm, right? Ratio of long short arm. Is called as a arm ratio. So, students, note down this. So, students, hope you have noted down about the types of the chromosome on the basis of the position of the centromere, right? Now, let's talk about the two important terms which we frequently use when we talk about the chromosome. The one is called as karyotype and another is a ideogram. Karyotype. When we study the external morphology of the chromosome, right, and normally the external morphology of the chromosome, they are studied at the metaphase stage of the cell division, right. So, when we study that, that is called as a karyotype. That is an external study or external morphology study is called as a karyotype. We divide or we study the chromosome on the basis of the number of the chromosome, first number of the chromosome, second the shape of the chromosome, or you can say the position of the centromere, right. On these bases they are studied, and even they are also studied on the basis of presence of number of arms, or you can say the arm ratio. So, karyotype, it is study of external morphology of chromosome. external morphology of the chromosome, and we study them on the basis of the first, number of the chromosome, because we know that number of the chromosome varies from species to species. One species will be having a same number of the chromosome. Number of chromosome. Right? The second study will it is also done to check the position of the centromere. Right? Sometimes we see that on the position we have studied about the telocentric, acrocentric, metacentric. Sometimes we see that some of the chromosome, they are comparatively big and some are very small. So on the basis of the size of the chromosome. Right? And next, on the basis of arm, right? Sometimes one of the arm is long and one of the arm is short. Arm of chromosome. So these are the important bases for the karyotyping, that is the study of the external morphology of the chromosome. Let's talk about one more important term which is called as an ideogram. Do not get confused, students, between karyotype and ideogram. They both are different words. So let's talk about the ideogram. Ideogram. Ideogram is a diagrammatic representation of the chromosome, right? What we do, we arrange the chromosome from highest, or you can say the biggest chromosome is placed first and later on the smallest is placed later on. This is called as a ideogram, right? And in the last, the sex chromosome, they are placed. But in case of Drosophila, it is opposite. First of all, what we do in the ideogram of Drosophila, what we place this sex chromosome and later on we place autosomes, right? So this is called as diagrammatic representation of right? Normally we place this on the basis of size. What we do? They are placed in decreasing size. Whenever students, you'll see the ideogram of a chromosome, ideogram of one particular species, you will see that first of all they have placed a longer chromosome and later on the last one will be the shorter chromosome and later on the sex chromosome will be short. So in the decreasing order, in decreasing size, and in last sex chromosome is placed. Right? But it is opposite in case of the Drosophila, because in Drosophila the ratio of the autosome to the sex ratio determines the sex of a Drosophila. So in Drosophila melanogaster, this is opposite. This representation is opposite. We place first the sex chromosome sex chromosome placed first and then autosomes. And basically their ratio of the sex chromosome to the autosomes, they determine the sex of an individual, right? So this is case of the ideogram. Normally there are so many applications as per the ideogram karyotype is concerned, like we can get to know about the complexity of an organism, whether, or we can say that it is a primitive or it is a new organism, or you can say a newly formed species. A newly formed species in the ideogram, it is more complex, like there will be no symmetry in the terms of, you can say the chromosome will not be the same. There will be a difference in the size, there will be a difference in the centromere of the centromere position, right? So these are the certain application as per the complexity, or you can say the karyotype is concerned. So this is all about students today class. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you so much for watching this.